welcome back. Now we have spoken. I don't switch off the video, I just continue. We have spoken about emotions before, and now it's about intuition. So see, there are some fundamental misconceptions about intuition that I would like to address here. Number one is, what feels right is not what feels good. We've heard this before, but it's important enough so that we stress that again. It's not about learning a lot. It's about learning deep. A few things, but really ingrained. Yes, so what feels right, that's what intuition is, doing what feels right. But that's not necessarily what feels good. So what feels good is going for comfort. What feels right is mostly going for discomfort through the initial discomfort to the place of truth. And truth often hurts, but truth heals. So not going for comfort, going for truth. Don't go for what feels good, go for what feels right. And also sometimes we need to do things that we otherwise wouldn't do when the situation calls for it. There's a trap when you start practicing to follow your heart that you get lost in, well, is that right for me? Does it feel right for me right now? Let's feel it out. If you really make it a practice to feel out how you go about your life, then at some point you will feel resistance to doing things that life calls for but that you don't feel like. And the fundamental distinction here is, sometimes, as I said, life calls for something, if it's kind of emergency. But to do things that you otherwise wouldn't do unless you had some voice in your mind telling you that it makes sense for this reason, or otherwise you won't reach that goal, or for whatever reason, this is where we need to readjust. But do not shy away from, for example, like take my example. I do my work here, I have my creative work, and I kind of get an expectation still at some point of what do I want to get done in a day, and then some emergency happens and the whole plan is like thrown out. And to expect that this will be happening, and then to do things that I actually don't feel like doing, but it's like an emergency situation and I just gotta step in and I just gotta address those things because it's like an emergency. I wouldn't willfully choose it if I had a choice, but right now sometimes you need to address those things. For example, somebody calling you and really having like a bad time, somebody who's truly some of your good friends. At this point I wouldn't, for example, say, well, call me in like 3 hours, I'm still like working, recording videos. Or somebody needs to be driven to the hospital or something like that. You see what I say? Yes, like, okay. And also don't get lost in your feelings and self-obsession. We had the self-obsession trap before. It's difficult to distinguish, and you also need to feel that out. This is kind of the meta-intuition. Like, intuit how you go about living from a place of intuition. You see? And do not get too self-obsessed. At the end, intuition leads you to a selfless life. That means first you center on yourself, sort yourself out, and then there's no reason to think about yourself because all your problems are solved, your life is great, and you are most of the time like very fulfilled, truly fulfilled, and you know there's nothing else to come. You found this place of peace, you know, you rest within yourself and you know like your journey has ended. When this has happened, everything else that you need to do or that you feel like doing is just, you know, pure giving. So self-obsession in the process needs to be overcome at the end. Intuiting what's right for you, feeling out what's right for you needs to be overcome, but this will naturally happen. I'm just saying, be aware in the process of not to become too self-obsessed in following your heart. As I said, following your heart needs to be transcended, because when it's the genuine act, you don't do it anymore, it kind of happens spontaneously, and this is when you really feel, okay, now you just serve whatever you do. You just light other people up and inspire in whatever you do. That's it. So, with this being said, see you in the next video.